Hey guys, welcome back to Old World Wednesday, and to today's video we are starting a little extra side series where we're going to be working on this, which is by far the largest Old World miniature ever produced in plastic. It is a colossal beast. The new Chaos Lord on two-headed dragon, which can be built as a lord and a sorcerer. It's a big, expensive miniature, so I did not want to kind of blast through it in a single video, take shortcuts and stuff like that. So I'm going to break the model down into a bunch of different sections so that they're easily digestible and a little bit easier to follow along with. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I accomplished the wings. So the wings on my dragon are fully done and ready to go, and they look all skin and chaotic and awesome. I think that is a perfect place to begin this series. So that's what we're going to do. By the end of today's video, you will be able to follow along in my steps and get your own wings done for your Chaos Dragon. Then next week we'll move on to the scales, then we'll do the skin, we'll do the base, we'll do the rider, and by the end of the series you'll be able to paint along and get your Chaos Dragon fully done. Obviously these wings can be used for a bunch of other different things as well, so if you're doing any other crazy monsters, not doing a dragon, you want to do some cool wings, these are an option. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and show you how I got these wings all finished up. So this is obviously the beautiful new two-headed Chaos Dragon, and as you can see, it's a monster of a thing. It's way larger than I was expecting it to be, way larger than any other kind of fantasy dragon that Games Workshop has brought out in a long time. So it was time to get stuck in. And like I said in the beginning, I want to show you guys how to do it, kind of pulling it apart piece by piece, starting with the wings. So obviously the model was sprayed black, and then it was given a zenith level bright white or bone or whatever color you want. And then we moved on to Fire Slayer Flesh. And we applied Fire Slayer Flesh on all of the soft winged parts of the model. So obviously all those bits in between the membranes. And all you're going to do is load up your brush with quite a lot of contrast, to be honest. You're going to apply it, and then you're going to manipulate and push that contrast around the piece until you're happy with its placement. It's not pooling anywhere, it's not streaking. But the trick is you also have to move a little bit fast, because you can't have, contrast half drying on a section and then you move your brush back over that section. That will cause paint tearing, where there will be like little tide lines between your paint. This is not something that you want. Wings are an especially good thing to contrast up, because each section is broken up by, like I said, those membranes. So you can do a section at a time, do that quite fast, get the paint exactly where you need it to go, and get the result that you're happy with, and then just replicate that on the kind of next patch and next patch and next patch until you're happy that the entire wing is kind of starting color that you need it to be. Fire Slayer Flesh being a nice dark skin tone. Going to match in with the box art that we've gotten for the Chaos Dragon so far. And then obviously going to build up that color a little bit with some brighter tones as we go on with the dry brushing step. Another thing I wanted with this series is to make sure it was super simple and super achievable for every single person who wants to own a two-headed Chaos Dragon in their collection, but was just a little bit nervous to make the purchase, build it, and to paint it, because I don't think they can achieve it, or they don't think they'll be able to do it. Hopefully this series will alleviate all those fears and let you guys purchase those cool models that you want to, and get the models on the table. Now, after this was applied to all of the wing sections that exist across this model, and those were left to dry completely for kind of 5-10 minutes. You don't want any kind of moisture left in the pen. You want it to be fully dry. Then we're going to move over to the first of two dry brushing stages. So we're just going to go for Cadian Flesh Tone, and then grab a dry brush that you're comfortable with. I'm always quite comfortable with the flat dry brushes, which is a bit weird. I'm sure one of the rounded brushes would have done a better job at this than this, but like I said, I'm quite comfortable with it. I quite enjoy doing it. And obviously load up your brush, remove the majority of the paint to go into dry brush mode, and then follow the wings kind of in the up and down motion. You don't want to go side to side, because that will ruin the look. There's like banding that exists across the wings. You can see those lines. Some of them are big, some of them are small. There's lots of veins and stuff popping out all over it. And going up and down with the dry brush will catch all those details beautifully and just make that wing stand out and look really nice, really clean, as opposed to the contrast layer, which can be a little bit blotchy and a little bit inconsistent and a little bit not perfect in places. And what I'm going to do as well is show you a little bit of a side-by-side comparison of what it's like after the first dry brush and what it's like before the dry brush, so you can get an example of what you're trying to achieve with this first dry brush step. And like I said, just go around the entire piece, make sure that you're removing quite a lot of the paint from your model. because you do not want there to be any left behind and leave like gnarly streaks. So there's the before and there's the after the dry brush. You can see that it does make quite a lot of a difference, and it does look a lot cleaner and a lot fresher. Obviously, we've repeated that step across the entire piece, and it's now time to move on to the next dry brush, which is Kislev Flesh. We're going to just jump up with that tone one more, and we're going to repeat that step, but this time you can see that I'm moving the dry brush slower and pressing down lighter. I want to leave behind less paint with the Kislev Flesh than I did with Acadian Flesh Tone. It's just supposed to catch those rage edges and the kind of veins a little bit better, make those details pop, and leave, like I said, the recesses nice and dark and shaded, including the previous dry brush step. Basically, the more paint you add on, the kind of brighter and kind of less you need to apply in order to get that kind of highlighted tones. Like I said, repeat this step, going very carefully, very slowly around the entire miniature, all those wing sections, until you achieve something that you're happy with and you're ready to move on to the next step, which is one of the really important steps. That makes a big difference as to how these wings are going to look. Because right now they do look a little bit drab, which is totally fine. We're totally okay with that. We know the direction we want to go in. We know what we want to achieve, and we know how we're going to get there. So just be patient and trust the process. Thought I would pop back and just thank you guys for your continued support on the channel, liking the videos, watching, commenting, making sure you're subscribed. Those three things are absolutely amazing. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And everyone who goes the extra mile and supports over on Patreon, you guys literally keep the channel going. Without you, I could not continue to make videos. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you want to get involved with Patreon, it is linked down in the description below. There's many reasons to get involved in that. We get extra videos, you get extra podcast episodes, private Discord server, and entered into the monthly giveaway to win either a Spearhead or a Combat Patrol box of your choice. That obviously includes the Old World large-scale army box sets as well. If you happen to be an Old World player and you win, you can choose one of those, and it will get shipped anywhere in the world at my expense. So if that sounds like something that interests you, like I said, check it out, linked below. So next step is going to be to either grab an airbrush or a brush. We're going to be using some Berserker Bloodshade, and we're going to be adding in that nice, really rich, really warm tone around the edges of all those wing membranes, which is what you can see on the box. Now, Gallery just sent me over a couple of their new airbrushes. There's a couple more of them in the post. They want me to do a review video on kind of all their airbrushes. So this is not this. I'm just grabbing an airbrush that I have now, and I'm just going to give it a little test here and have a play with it. This is the Mobius, and it's a fun little airbrush. So you're going to see me literally squeezing the trigger for the first time and seeing how it sprays onto a model and how it works. So like I said, you do not need an airbrush for this step. If you do not wish, you can go in with a nice shade brush or a glaze brush or, you know, large medium brush, and just, you know, water down Berserker Bloodshade and just go in at the wings around those membranes. If you do have an airbrush, obviously it makes the step a lot faster, and it gives a slightly smoother result. And it gives the result that we're really after when it comes to this wings. And as you can see, I'm leaving the kind of center fold of the wing membrane, or the wing sections, the nice pale color we've been dry brushing up, but all around the edges, we're going to add in that nice kind of horrible raw skin pinky color, which obviously is going to elevate this to the next level, make it look like we put in so much work with these wings when we very much did not. I would say brush time, all in all, there's like, I don't know, maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes work total to get these wings from the kind of sprayed white to them being finished and being able to move on to the rest of the miniature. So I think it's a really cool step. And obviously you can see the wing in your face here not looking that great, and you can see the wing in the background, the foreground, looking quite nice. That's the kind of magic of that little airbrush step. But like I said, don't panic. You're more than capable of doing it with a shade brush, just going in and painting those sections, and it will look just as good. And as you can see, this is the result after the airbrush. Show you once again on the inside of the wing, moving slowly. Trigger control, you're only letting a small amount of paint out. You've got a low PSI set to your airbrush because we're using a shade. That's only down to like 15 PSI maybe. And then we're moving fast so it doesn't kind of pool. And it's leaving behind that really nice kind of rosy red tint across the wings, and making it look like that kind of chaotic, evil looking dragon wing, which I think is really, really sweet. And when they're done, this will be the final result for our wing video. Like I said, we're going to do the scales and the skin as two separate videos moving forward. Maybe I'll focus another video on doing details, like we'll do the horns, we'll do the inside of the mouth, the teeth, the eyes on the dragon. So it'll be like 4 videos in total to get your dragon fully done. And here's a couple of still images to give you an example of what those wings might look like on the tabletop. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You learned a little something about painting dragon wings, and you're happy to go away and try this for yourself. Thank you so much for sticking around at the end. I'll see you in the next one.